Okay. Let me see. I think that might be good enough, right? Okay, yeah, that's pretty damn good. Okay. All right. All right, guys. Welcome back. I planned on making this video on Friday. It is not too much later. I wanted to do it like as soon as the early access uh pretty much was over when the official release came out. But as you've seen in the title, this is just pretty much my review of WWE 2K26. Um, the only reason why I'm really making this video is because the fact that I did make a wish list video, technically two of them, for this game. So I wanted to go over a few of the things that that were added, that were that I'm happy about. Some things I'm not happy about. Uh, some things I didn't expect. Things like that. So I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm not really going to go into too much, or at least try not to. I do already notice that, like, through streaming my audio, like the in-game soundtrack is muted. That is fine, I guess. Um, but yeah, so I want to start off with like some of the negative things because you want to end it on a positive note, whatever. Um, the main thing I could say that we all pretty much had an issue with is the ringside pass, of course. Um, my main issue with the ringside pass, and just go right into it. You already see that I've got all the tiers. Um, but yeah, this I like the idea of it, at least for the new characters and new things like that or whatever. But for the things that have already been in the game, it is a little, because I remember back then, once 2K started doing the DLC thing, they were saying like, "Oh yeah, well, all right, well, if anyone pretty much if they were already in the previous game, you wouldn't have to, do anything to, well, you wouldn't have to purchase them, I guess." And it's like, I guess that's what a lot of people are upset because it's like, oh, these people are already in another game. You have to do this, blah blah blah. The difference is you don't have to buy anything here. It's just you play through the game, you get to the tiers, and you unlock them. Um, and it could be kind of tedious because there's no way to unlock everything like in the previous games, which that came in handy for those like people like me who wanted to just go right into universe mode and start, doing everything because you didn't really want to have to play through anything else if we didn't really want to. So I can understand that a lot of people didn't like that. Um, but I did realize that going through the tiers were a lot easier than I expected because sometimes I would reach another level and I wouldn't even notice while I was playing through like the Myrise, through the showcase and stuff like that. And the thing is, I did actually purchase like I think half of my tier skips because I just wanted to get through it, which I had a little bit extra money on me, and I just throw it into it. That was fine. But yeah, it's been a big issue about the exploits and stuff like that. And but honestly, to me, the fact that like how easy it really was to reach different tier skips made this not as bad, honestly, because I realized that you gain RXP through even watching universe mode matches. So that means without the whole Eric Bischoff exploit, one of the easiest ways to just pretty much farm RXP would just be going through universe mode, not even changing anything if you don't want to. Click and watch show and just let the thing kind of, play out. And so it was not it's not that bad. It's really not when it comes to something like that. And I know like the community has been like up in arms over it because like it's another thing that they feel like they have to purchase, but you don't. All you gotta do is play the game, and that's it. Now, however, I would say something that is disappointing that I have an issue with is the idea that like certain personas from my faction aren't really in this game on like the base game, because if you know about the covers, because I don't think there's any way for me to see the covers through here, you see that Kurt Angle 01 is featured on the cover of the both Attitude Era and Monday Night Wars edition. I do have the Monday Night War edition. So the fact that he's not in game, which I believe he may end up being a persona card or something, but you have base Kurt Angle, which is basically Kurt Angle from 2006, I want to say, and then you have like Kurt Angle 19, as you see, which that's not his attire in game. Which his attire in game is actually the attire he had when he pretty much came out of retirement, or like his last match or whatever, which is a really good model and really good attire. I love that one, honestly. But yeah, the fact that he's not in base game when it's like the focus is on like the Monday Night Wars or Attitude Era, you don't have that Kurt Angle, which he'll likely be unlockable later if he's even in game, which that would be disappointing too. If you have this model, they were really proud of their Kane model, which is a really good model. But it's like, where's Kurt? Where's Attitude Era Lita? Where's like Attitude Era Trish? Are they still? Well, Attitude Era Trish was unlockable through my faction last year, which I feel like you should be on the base game this year. Attitude Era Lita, we don't know. Maybe she might come out. Maybe she won't. We don't know that yet. Still a lot of things that need to be worked out in that regard. So it's just this thing where we have a lot of people that we feel like that should have been on base game because they were in the Attitude Era, especially if you get these editions. Where are these people? It feels like, I don't know. It's just it because if you want to go into, say, you try to go into a universe where you want to create your Monday Night Wars, it's not really, you can't really make it as accurate if you gotta wait so long just to have them in the game, if they're even going to be in game. Because if I want to do like the Monday Night Wars, you want to recreate that, you'd want to have their models and their tires, their music, whatever, from that era. You want them to represent it properly. Let me see. And so I guess I'll now show some of the things I was like happy about that I didn't that I wasn't, because I'm not doing this in any order. I should have taken notes, but whatever, we're doing this live, pal. Let me see. There, you can't hear it, but you could probably tell by the name of the there was at least two themes that I know that have been updated from last year to this year. One is where are you? Is Victoria. A lot of people complain that the model of Victoria in game and her entrance didn't match the song. If you see the other thing she said, that's actually in the game now. They actually have that song. I heard it when I'm just in the menus and I heard the theme playing, and it really took me by surprise. I was like, okay, that's actually amazing. I'm glad they actually updated that. That's something that no one really talked about. I guess they don't feel like that's important, or there's more pressing matters with the whole game as a whole. But and while I'm here at the models, I do wish that they had uh what was it? I guess WrestleMania 39, 38. I don't remember which number it was, but Undertaker, like when he came back, because he's using that gimmick a lot more than he's just using his dead man gimmick. He's not even using it anymore. He basically comes out as himself with American Badass, which I feel like they could actually have that song in game as well with the updated Taker. I don't know, just something that'll be more like modernized than this version of him. And speaking of themes that were updated, there's also where Stacy Keebler. Now, I don't think this song was ever in any game, and I'm mad that you won't be able to hear it because the audio for the in-game music is muted for, copyright reasons and stuff like that. I think I may be able to go to the settings and change that, but I don't know. But yeah, they have her the legs theme, that was, I don't believe that was ever in any WWE game ever, because they never paid for that copyright. They always kind of like had a generic version of the song. So that's good. That's another theme that was updated that no one really talked about. I guess no one either, they didn't know because they didn't ever play as Stacy or Victoria, or they just, it wasn't seen as important. All right. So, uh, something that obviously my my biggest talking points in my last live stream, the wishlist video, was a lot of universe mode stuff. So we can go into that. We'll just continue my universe mode where what I was doing or whatever. So the thing that's kind of, and it's still so early in the game's lifespan. So these things are possibly going to be, changed, updated, blah, blah, blah. You see my champions right now, they did that on their own. I'll probably go into more of that type of stuff later. But I want to go into like the thing that I usually, one of the biggest issues is like you have, one of the biggest things is they have the, Thunder Arena, you got WCW Thunder. It's cool, right? For some reason, that doesn't include an arena logo for Thunder. You see, all the new logos are here. Pretty much, they put them all in one spot. There's no Thunder. There's no Thunder here. And maybe, again, I remember, what was it, 2K22? They had to patch in one of the show images. Maybe they'll do that at some point, but it's one of those things where I feel like that should have been something that would have been here immediately. Also, it's like they have the AAA logo, but they don't have specifically Worlds Collide or which was the other one, Triple Mania. They don't have either one of their actual like logos that you use as your show logo. You can only use like pretty much that logo, unless obviously you download the images. I guess you could always do that, but it would be better if it's just in game. You don't have to go through the extra steps to do it. Also, there was something also that wasn't here. Yeah, like the you see, well, no, it's all here. It was like some other stuff that was missing that I don't quite remember off the top of my head. Why I should have taken notes. But yeah, it's just like small things like that. While I'm still in universe mode, let me go back because there was something else I remember that I wanted to talk about. You see the draft rules here. You see, I would want to have like free agent and like legend picks on. And if you see the intro, like that just tells you the other ones. But I'm more worried about the legend picks. because it said Legend Picks allows you to draft superstars who are considered legends. This classification can be customized for superstars and edit superstar inside of universe, right? So even if, and I'm just gonna turn it on and see. Let's say any. They said you can classify them. And so I go into it. I go to Abyss and like, where do I make that classification? Where could I classify him as a legend so he can be drafted as a legend? Where can I do that? There's no place here. There's not even like a placeholder where it would be. I don't know if there's just an oversight on their part or like, or what. Um, because I feel like even if I like said like 10, if I just did that and then go back, there's still there's no way to say, hey, this guy's a legend. I would want that so that way the free agent picks are different because I can understand they sound like anyone who isn't a part of a show is considered a free agent. I would also want a draft pool for free agency, like an actual, like, I guess, free agent roster to where because the thing is, the reason why I wouldn't want to put like the free agency on, because if you look through the list of superstars, you have multiples of people. You have, like AJ Styles as well, multiples of them. You have some people that you probably don't want to put in a modern universe who have passed away. Just things like that. It'll probably like it mess up your immersion a little bit. Just a personal thing because like I know some people like the randomness of just having anyone anywhere, and that makes sense too. But I like the idea that I can just have at least one of them ranked as a free agent or a legend, and the other just doesn't get involved. Like the old games where you actually had an inactive status for people. They wouldn't get bothered. They wouldn't get put into it at all. Like especially when you think about people like you have multiple versions of like of Hulk Hogan. You don't want Hollywood Hogan and Hulk Hogan '02 just showing up together, especially if you're trying to do like a Monday Night Wars universe, and you don't want the others showing up while the other ones are actually in the active roster. Maybe you do, but it's just a thing that it gives you a little bit more control. You got Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but then you also have like the other versions of Triple H. And just one of those things that I feel like it should just be. I feel like it could be patched in easily. Like I said, this is really early in the game. It's not. It's not. It's not anything that can't be fixed or can't be added in the coming months that we have with this game. So it's one thing I definitely would like to see fixed is the fact that like if you go into, well, first of all, I tried to team up, the package deal because they're both unlockables in the game, which I love that idea. I'm happy about the first of all that they have their own versions of the previous 2K My Rise characters or career characters. That's honestly awesome. I wanted that. I'm glad that that's actually here where you can put them in any mode. Uh, the only person I feel like is missing at this point is Brooklyn Von Braun, who came from their story, which is would be good for her to be added as well. But like I said, it's not complaining. It's just like just one of those things. But if I go into this, yeah, they might be involved in the rivalry. That's cool, but I can't edit their tag team stuff at all, which is unfortunate because these two actually have a tag team entrance in the game. So want to be able to use that again. Could be patched. Could be the patch could be in the works now. We don't know, but that's one of the oversights that like I feel like should be looked into. Um, Let me see what other. I'm gonna go into. I guess it don't matter which tag team I really go into. Sure, we'll go to Pretty Deadly. Uh, Another thing I noticed. I'm gonna start off with this part of it. I did notice that that the motions, I think, for people, like if you go to them here, there's only like certain, they separated all of the motions by heel and face. You can't just choose any one now, because you see all these. You even see that like that Pretty Deadly's like motion is not even here. So if you changed it and try to change it back, you wouldn't be able to switch it back. And it might be in the face one. See, now here it is. You didn't see half of these. It's this, I think it's the same thing with title motions. Like they separated them by heel and face. So you don't really have the option to choose any of them anymore. Again, I feel like that was an oversight. That's something that they're likely going to fix, but you can only hope, because it does slow the game down a lot. Let's see. And you go. Screw it. I guess I can just go. As far as tag team like entrances as well, one of the biggest things they talked about was the fact that you can edit the timeline and tag team entrances too, but also when it comes to title motions, which I don't think it was like that in the first, like when it came out before, like the 1.04 patch, is that now you're stuck with these championship entrances. You can't choose anything beyond these. That's it. So if you go and you edit them or something and you change it, you can never go back unless you go back and do the default and get it back to normal. So it's definitely something that needs to be changed. So let's see. But yeah, actually let me just go use something. One of the things I would consider that I liked about it though, like, I was talking about a lot of the negatives, and so I'm getting to the positives of universe mode. I don't think I'm gonna first of all, who's stopped by to watch, thank you. So yeah. One of the things I did enjoy about this, as you see, Carmelo Hayes is my undisputed champion on SmackDown. I did not assign him to this division. I didn't put him in any sort of situation to make this happen. He was the United States champion when you first started up. He lost the title, I think it was to Sammy, or it may have been to someone else. But then he was in a rivalry with Drew McIntyre, who was the WWE champion. He beat Drew for the title without any input from me. I just watched the show and he happened to win. I was genuinely excited that he won, because I was like, dude, that was nuts. Because I was not expecting him to win. I was not expecting, I wasn't expecting it to be a title match. So it seems people will, if they're in a rivalry with the champion, they will automatically pretty much, that will be a championship rivalry. One of the things I didn't like hear anybody mention. I don't know if they did. I don't watch everyone exactly or whatever. But when it comes to this, when it comes to the Money in the Bank, like obviously they have their own slots now, so you don't have to like sacrifice a championship spot for these. I also realized something when I was watching some like, you know, people going through menus that you can now have the Money in the Bank briefcases for all like I don't know if it's like if you could do more shows, like if I have a fourth show, could I do it for that too? But so far the Money in the Bank could actually be I didn't put it on this show, but it's like on Raw. It's the same Money in the Bank briefcase. You don't have to make separate ones. And because which let me go to this other thing. Because I started my universe in January, which was really cool. Because I always like the idea, like you start your like how the old my careers or you know whatever they were called back then, um, where you would start your show like in January. Pretty much, it'll start off on the road to WrestleMania, and then it goes on from there. I liked, and then also because January is the first month of the year, that makes sense. So I started it there. So I didn't even get to Money in the Bank. So I don't know how the Money in the Bank matches even work when the briefcases are on multiple shows. Maybe they divide the people evenly between shows. That would be really cool too. So I'm guessing that's how that works. Um, let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about here? I do like the idea that the show themes are back. It does kind of, you know, add to the presentation of the show. And also another thing that I noticed that happens if you are if there's a match that happens in universe and there's a lot of blood on the mat, you know, a lot of blood everywhere, the next match the blood will still be in the ring. And it's a bigger thing where if in one show there's a lot of blood in a specific spot that you can kind of, you know, see, the next show there's more blood from that match in another spot. And in the third match, you will see in some spots the blood is lighter than the one spots, you know, the blood seems more fresh in the spots where it happened in the second match than the first. So that little detail goes far for me. That's one of those things I enjoy, especially as someone who likes to watch Universe Mode a lot. I love seeing things kind of carry over where it doesn't seem like everything refreshes. It's like a one single show, and you don't have to push watch show for that to happen. Even if you go through and you go through it manually like this and just and I realize that the watch show, some of the features in the watch show may be a bit broken. If you try to go to watch a show, sometimes it would do this thing where it will crash after a cutscene or something. I guess because the optimization is like kind of off. It's a new feature, so you got to give them some sort of grace. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you pay this much money for a game and blah blah blah." Well, part of it is the consumer's issue. It's you try to rush out a game, you try to like rush them to bring out a game, and the problem with a lot of people is they want 2K to basically try to reinvent themselves every single game when they don't remember when 2K started like to do all everything on their own, which was after the 2K20 like debacle where the game was just basically broken, a broken mess. They had to rebuild everything themselves, have their own programs starting from 2K22, and they had to and instead of them trying to rework their system every single time, they started to build a system and they're trying to work on it more, which they have done. Like 2K26 is a big step up from 2K25. It is not the same game. You can tell yourself that because the controls are the same, but it's really not the same. Like you can tell the difference. When I first went into the game and I got into the the performance center. First thing I noticed, I'm like, the models of the characters in this game they feel more realistic, even by last year's standards. everyone seems like they have mass to them. They're not like just, they don't seem like these just like floating things. They seem like they actually have weight to them. Um, so I actually enjoyed it. The Let me see. I will go to. So a lot of people have the issue with the stamina thing, and it's because the debuff, the purple bar, the purple stamina as they call it, will come up way too soon, and then you can't reverse, you can't do anything, you can't run. Um, I don't like it. Right, I'll say that straight up. Um, Especially because I feel like in this game there's a lot of debuffs as is. There's a lot of like things like your stun, the rollouts, and you can completely like take away let me see where that is. You can pretty much get rid of the like the rolling out and the see, you can get rid of the rolling out and that stops, but the stun, you really can't get rid of it. Like even me putting stun gain and stun duration already all the way down, it still happens. Granted, it does take a while for it to happen, but you still can get stunned in the game, and that's another debuff. So to combat the purple stamina, I do this. I put the stamina cost all the way down, stamina recovery rate all the way up. That way your stamina still drains. It's not infinite, but it takes a while for it to get to that point. So you still have a lot to do before you get like debuffed and you can't do anything else. I feel like that was one of the things that I feel like is an issue because I don't want to turn stamina infinite. I don't want to just run around and constantly keep doing. I still want to kind of have some sort of like have it grounded. But I'm glad that so far the stamina settings that I put it on works out. Like I'm glad it does still keep it grounded. And I do notice that the NPCs in this game are not as squirrely as they was in 2K25. They seem to stand a bit before they make the next decision. They seem to kind of almost think before they make the next move, before they start to go for the next attack, before they do anything. So again, it's I play a lot, or I like I guess play a lot against the CPU and watch the CPU a lot. So I see, you know, the changes that most people probably wouldn't if they used to playing, I guess, with other people. They wouldn't really notice these things. Um, but overall, I do think this game is good. I do think it's a lot of good potential in the coming months. I guess I will talk about My Rise a bit because the My Rise stories were fun. I played both the heel and the pretty much the face side of the male My Rise. I'm working on the same thing with the female My Rise. It's so far as good. I understand a lot of people's frustration with the. Let me go into just go into it real quick. I guess it's my guy Jack Fisher. He was a creation that I made back in I think 2K18, 2K19. But I'm gonna go into the thing that I like. A lot of people don't like the whole like these matches, like the Rise matches, where you have to compete certain amount of matches before you can continue on to the next story. But your stars also unlock these. You know, your people like Buzz and Cole Quinn, and you know, CM Punk Retro is unlocked here. You know, Red and Trey, all this cool stuff. A lot of the My Rise characters, which is really cool. I still love that. Um, so yeah, it's like so it's not completely useless to do them. You know, it's still you still unlock more things than you probably realize while you're playing. Also, which is cool. Let me see. I don't know how I got so attached to this character, But I'm so happy that that Carly Prime is actually a playable character now. I was so happy about that because I was like, she was in, I forget which one she's in. I play all these, so they kind of blend sometimes. But I'm like, yeah, why aren't these people like playable? I always wanted the My characters to be playable because they created them, they give them entrances, they give them commentary lines, so it just makes sense. So now the fact that they are becoming playable characters, that's a bonus for me, and I get to use them to boost up my NXT roster, or if I want to make my own roster, pretty much to like go up against WWE or whatever, I'll use all of them, and so that's always a good time for me. Um, but yeah, so let me leave this now. There's also the island, which I was going to really dig it, but I got stuck on a match. And I guess I do know how I could get out of it. It's going to be like a drag to do it. Because one of your matches you have, it's a handicap match. And the island, it uses the default settings. So there's no way for me to change that. There's no way for me to like fix the stamina thing. So you imagine it's a handicap match, no DQ. You have to fight two people, and your stamina constantly. You keep getting this stamina debuff. You keep like not being able to reverse while you're fighting, trying to fight two people at once. Seems like a bit of an oversight. Seems like a lot more trouble than it's worth. It shouldn't be that difficult, especially when that's like what the third or so match in like on the island for that particular route. Like I don't know. It's just like okay, but even the reason why I was even doing it in the first place because even those have unlockable custom characters that I wanted to unlock. So I'm like the best way I guess is to try to like beef up my guy and try to see if I can use badges or something to try to like make that work or so, but I don't know. I just feel like that's one of those things where I usually don't bother with the badge stuff and all that because I feel like, I just want to play through it and just unlock the stuff. That's not my main mode. Again, universe mode is I just want to unlock everybody so I can put them in my universe and let them have at it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, right? That's all I really wanted to talk about. Like I said, overall, a really good game. Um, it's going to be more fun with all the patches that they're going to come out with in the next months. The ringside pass, like the new people there. Um, yeah, like I'll just hope that these small things, it don't take them too long to fix these because sometimes I remember in previous games we had issues the entire game through the game's entire life cycle. We've had the same issues. I just still don't like the idea that certain things like even Triple H 99 is locked behind my faction. Um, when it's like a lot of times it's all you really want is these certain like personas and then you have to and maybe I misheard the interview that I watched with one of the developers where he said like that you don't have to go through every mode to unlock everything, but no, maybe he meant that I don't know. It just seems like it's one of those things where you almost can't get the most out of it without and a lot of times let me go into this real quick actually. Because a lot of times in my faction, some of the biggest issues is the fact that a lot of these things are unlocked through here, the live events, right? Um, so like that, you have to get the Triple H 99 card to unlock Jean-Paul Levesque. But then usually to get him, it's like a random draw. There's usually you have to have specific cards to unlock certain personas, and it's just like a lot of times you don't get those cards from a random like draw. You have to like, I guess when you purchase a pack, you have to get like probably one of the major packs. Which look how much VC and my faction points these are to possibly even get, you know, which I don't. It's just the fact that they beef these packs up with so many like cards that aren't part of this series really gets me too. It's just like, but I guess that's how I was never a card pack guy when it comes to any of those games because I don't play a lot of those. So I guess that's what they do. They'll have a card series, but only like a few cards would actually be drawn from that series. The rest will be like, you know, low level cards that just exist. And it's just like, and even in the card market, I don't think I even talked about this at all. I guess when it came to um my wish list. Here's the thing, all right? I make a decent amount of money. I ain't gonna say I make a lot. But if I could just have the personas, all of them that are actually available, just put them here so I can just buy them straight up. If 2K, if you're worrying about, you know, money, stuff like that, people obviously are going to complain. They're going to say, oh, you got to pay to get extra characters. And I don't care. If just make the personas, especially, okay, I understand you don't want to spoil certain personas, so because you want to kind of have them for their events. But I remember in 2K25, we had what was it? I don't want to get the number wrong, but was it 2010 Drew McIntyre? He was never in the persona market. '03 Kane was never in the persona market. A lot of these persona cards were never in the market, even throughout the game's lifespan. So it's like I would want these cards as soon as they pretty much enter the live event thing. I could see even after. Okay, like okay, you got Jean Paul Levesque, you got Mass Dom, you have O1 Brock. Any of these personas after these events end, they should be up on the card market to purchase. Like yeah, you can do it through live events, but after the live events, they should immediately go into the store. That's just how I feel about it because it'll be easier for those who don't want to play through and who, you know, if you can spend the extra money to get them, just get them. That would 2K would get y'all would get what y'all want when it comes to, you know, transactions and spending or whatever, and people will be able to get the personas that they already want without having to play through and do all this stuff because again you don't always have the cards and you're not always going to draw a card to, you know, to have these. And then you only have a certain amount of VC as is, so you'll be paying for more VC just to keep trying and trying and trying. That's really tedious. I feel like it's not, at that point, it's more like a pay to play thing more than it actually is just, oh, you're just playing through it in general. So I do think that's one of the things that need to be pretty much fixed. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much all. That's all I really had to say. That's all I really had to pretty much. That's pretty much my review and everything. I don't really play online, so I wouldn't know anything about that stuff and all that. But but yeah, it's so like I said, overall a good game. Could use some wait before I close this out. There is one thing I wanted to go into. Maybe I could do it outside. I don't gotta go through universe mode. One last thing, and this is a good thing. So, like I said, ended on a positive note. Who am I gonna go to? I'm gonna go to somebody specifically. No, not you. You. Um, I saw that they had an alternate attire. Maybe you can't do it here. Maybe I do got it. You know, hey, we're doing it live, pal. We're doing it live. I guess that makes sense that why you would have to do it in universe mode. Let me go into it, and I'm gonna go to him again. Because even if you see, I wasn't expecting this. And the only reason why I'm going to him is because this is the one who I first discovered this with. Now you see, right? When I went to go first switch his attire to his face paint attire, because I'm only changing Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa since they were the original, Gorillas of Destiny. If the stuff like that. Um, I didn't know that random attires are back. I didn't know that these you can both, and then it says random. So that's really cool. The fact that you do have default attires, PLE attires, WrestleMania attires, and casual promo attires is really cool as well. It does. It makes it better for those things where you don't want everybody don't come out when they're cutting a promo in their full gear. People would be like, dressed more casually, blah blah blah. I love the idea of the PLE attires, and then your WrestleMania attires because a lot of times people don't wear the same thing throughout. And then the fact that you have even the default attire, you can have multiple attires. So if I make different attires for Tama Tonga, I can have all those attires. I don't know if it's even a limit. I can have those attires like all randomized so he can just wear pretty much whatever, whenever. So that was definitely one of the things I noticed that I don't remember anybody saying anything about, especially the fact that random attires are back. That was one of the things that a lot of people wanted back for a long time. And is one of the reasons why I say that people should definitely let 2K, do their thing. Let them do their thing. Let them work on it. Let them cook basically. Because you will see that they are trying to bring a lot of features from like previous titles into their game. It's going to take them a lot because the fact that they had to rebuild everything from scratch. They had to see how well it could work together with what they already have, things like that. And a lot of people will complain, like, "Well, these are not new features; they're technically been." But it's what makes it different is the fact that it's in this game, and for me especially, someone who enjoys like a universe mode where I can do all this sort of thing, to have these features being brought into a modern game definitely means a lot. I love the ragdolling. People talked about the ragdoll stuff, and I've seen a lot of comments where people are saying, "Oh, it seems so like goofy and silly." And I'm not one of those people that think that the entire community is a hive mind where like, oh, because somebody says something and somebody says something else, that's the same person. I don't believe in that because it's not true. But a lot of people ask for the games to kind of have a bit more of a arcadey style, and nothing says arcade more than having like a scrapyard match and throwing someone off of a ladder and they're just like ragdolling and look like they should be dead, you know. So it's one of those things where it's the reason why a lot of companies don't take in feedback as much as they would like to, because if they tried to they would be running in circles because they wouldn't be able to please everyone. There's always going to be issues. Obviously, that's how it works. Nothing is perfect. Everything takes its own polishing, and you know, it takes a lot of time to make all these happen because a lot of us are just fans. We're not developers. We don't know what it takes to do certain things. So we're not looking at it from that perspective. But overall, like I said, this game is very enjoyable. It's fun. The only thing I wish, like when it comes to the ragdoll stuff, honestly, is like when you slam somebody, like especially when you throw someone in the ring and they go like to the ropes, that they could possibly go through the ropes or over the ropes. Because again, I think I said it in my wish list video. I do notice how the actions on the ropes do, the ropes do react to the people being against them or thrown towards them. But I always say that there's 3 ropes. There's spaces in between the ropes. So I feel like if you get thrown a certain way, you should probably go through those ropes. You should probably go over the top rope or under, But I feel like that would make the game a lot more janky, but in a way it would make it a lot more fun, just like the ragdolling does in general. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. That's all I came to say, came to do, pretty much just do my review. I planned on doing, like I said, I planned on doing this Friday. I didn't really feel like it. I know I have other things that I should be streaming, but I didn't really feel like doing that either. I still have uh I still have my Skyrim stream that I've been doing. Um I still have my Oblivion that I barely started that I need to do. I have a PC now. It's a mini PC, so I don't know what all I'll be able to do on or with it. But I know I could record gameplay, so I need to if I get some more PC games, I may be recording some stuff. I don't know, but I don't know. I can't give you a proper timeline on like when I'll do all that. I have a webcam too that I've just been, trying to put some stuff together, but I'll definitely try. I'll definitely try to make something happen here. I'll try to make more content because I want to. I do like it. It's just, sometimes life does life stuff and you just don't feel like you just kind of just want to relax and sit back and not really do anything. So, but I don't know. I'll try. I'll definitely say that I'll try. I don't know. Maybe next week I might try to upload something, might try to record something. I don't know. I'm just still going into my settings and stuff and looking through stuff like that. So I don't know. That's the best thing I can say right now is I don't know, but I'll definitely try though. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it for me then.